Dear student, we will continue with the DNA as the hereditary material, part 2. So we were discussing Hershey and Chase experiment. Now Hershey and Chase, they received the Nobel Prize in 1969 for discovering genetic structure of virus. So they were basically working with the phage. Phage are those viruses which infect the bacteria, and they are known as bacteriophage. In short, we say it is phage. So he specifically was working in this experiment, he was working with T2 phage. So aim was to prove that DNA is the genetic material. So they performed the blender experiment, and here they have taken T2 bacteriophage which infects E. coli, Escherichia coli, and the phage multiply in the E. coli. Let's see, briefly discuss how they multiply. You can see this is a phage, this is the DNA. Okay, so this represents bacterial cell E. coli. First the phage attaches to the E. coli and transfer its DNA. So the whole DNA goes to you can say E. coli, and then in E. coli the DNA replicates or DNA copies are formed, but the DNA copies are formed with the help of the machinery of the host, that is bacteria. So bacteria machinery is now utilized in the multiplication of viral DNA. So once this is formed, then once the DNA copies are formed, they are encapsulated by the protein coat, and now they lyse the bacterial cell and release in the environment, and they are ready to infect the other cell. This is a kind of cycle that virus follows, and here we will see how they have performed. So they make use of radioisotopes. Now radioisotopes are the isotopes which shows radioactivity. So, and then we have the method how to account for the radioactivity. We can measure the radioactivity. So here they have taken two different isotopes, one of sulfur 35, and one of phosphorus 32. Now sulfur actually incorporate into the cysteine and methionine of protein coat of virus. So protein coat of virus show radioactivity, whereas phosphorus get incorporated in the phosphate of DNA backbone. So the DNA show radioactivity. Okay. Now how the experiment was done, they grow the phage on S35 and P32 both separately. Okay. And they infected it with the E. coli, because without infection, without E. coli, the phage won't replicate. Okay. So S35 was introduced in the culture medium, that is the nutrient medium, and P32 is also introduced like that, so that when they grow, they incorporate these things within them. Now what will happen? First step is infection. So after they get the labeling, here the protein coat is labeled, and here the DNA is labeled P32. Okay, so now they will infect the E. coli. Okay, now so first process is attachment, and they transfer their DNA. Okay, so in this case DNA is not labeled, in this case DNA is radio labeled. Now what they do, they did the blending. Blending means mixing. So it is done mechanically. So when they do this, the protein coat is separated from the bacterial cell. Okay, so here now blending is done to separate the viral particles from E. coli. You can see they are separated, and this whole we carry out in the test tube. So in the test tube we have suitable buffer, nutrient medium where buffer is adjusted, and so these cells do not lyse. Okay, now they are separated. Okay, here they are separated. Now they are subjected to centrifugation. Now what is centrifugation? This test tube is now subjected to centrifugation. Centrifugation is the technique which involves the application of centrifugal force to separate particles from a solution according to their size, shape, density, viscosity of the medium. Now we have a centrifuge machine which is available. I think we have visited one science center where I have shown you the centrifuge. Okay, so the principle is, it is based on the centrifugal force. So depending on their density and size, they are separated. You know that bacterial cells are large in size and viral particles are smaller as compared to bacteria. So once you do the centrifugation, you will get two components, one which gets settled down at the base of the test tube and another one which is not settled, or which is on the top of the lower bottom layer. So the bottom layer is called pellet, okay, and the upper layer is called supernatant. Okay, so here you will get supernatant and you will get supernatant and pellet. So in S35 case, you will see that usually you will see viral particles are at the upside and bottom side you will see bacterial particles. Okay, so you will find that here when this is subjected to detection of radioactivity, the supernatant show the radioactivity. Over here the pellet show the radioactivity. Now what was the observation when this was detected? It confirms that viral protein particles are in supernatant, whereas this confirms that the DNA of virus is present in bacteria. Now further what they did, the DNA that has entered bacteria will produce the phage, you can say phage particle. Okay, so in this, okay, since the bacteria here are showing the radioactivity, so these bacteria were allowed to grow further. So when they were allowed to grow further, what will happen? Since they have DNA of virus, so viral particles are produced inside the bacteria. Okay, now we want to release those viral particles, so we'll be adding lysozyme, which lies the cell wall of the bacteria, and new phage particles are released. Okay, what it indicate? It indicate that the DNA of phage and not the protein contain genetic information for new bacteriophage. DNA is a genetic material. Okay, so here all the proofs are complete that DNA is genetic material. I'll just briefly discuss here about the transformation, because again and again we are going to read this term. Now what is transformation? It is the process by which an organism acquires exogenous DNA. Exogenous means some foreign DNA, which is not part of cell, which may cause genetic alteration of the receiver cells. So the cell which is receiving the foreign DNA or exogenous DNA, once the DNA enter, it may cause certain changes in the receiver's DNA. This process is called transformation. Now it could be natural or artificial, both. Natural, like we have seen in the Griffith experiment, it was natural. Describes the uptake and incorporation of naked DNA from the cell's natural environment into the cell membrane. So what was happening over there? Actually, the DNA from S3, okay, somehow comes out, and this DNA, not the whole DNA but the part of DNA, enters the R2 cells. Now this DNA transforms the R2 cells to the S3 cells, because it is that particular virulent gene is actually going and transforming these R2 cells. This is what is exactly happening over there. If you talk about the artificial transformation, it is used as a tool in genetic engineering. We'll be reading this in detail in genetic engineering. Now in this, foreign plasmid introduced into the bacteria, where the plasmid replicates and make the large copies. Now since we know the process of transformation, so how artificially we can make use or we can exploit this process to do genetic engineering, we'll be reading about this in the coming chapters. Now DNA is a genetic material. Let's Let's talk about this. Except for virus, DNA is a genetic material, because in virus we have DNA and RNA both as genetic material. Now, what should be the criteria? What kind of molecules act as a genetic material? The genetic material should be able to replicate, that is, it should be able to form its copies. Then and only then the information will be forwarded to the next generation. There should be scope of change. It should be flexible, like DNA can change and mutate, and it give rise to evolution. Genetic material should be chemically and structurally stable, as we have seen the structure of DNA, how stable it is, and different types of bond, it stabilizes the structure. It should be able to express in the form of Mendelian character. So it should carry the information and in the coded form, and when this information is decoded, it should be able to express the character. So that is what we mean by the genetic material. Now let's see which one is better, DNA or RNA. As we know, both are capable of replicating at their own, so both are good at that. But if you see chemically, the DNA is more stable than RNA. Now it is because the thymine which is present in DNA, it forms a proper hydrogen bond, okay, and stabilizes the structure of DNA. Whereas if you see the RNA, it consists of ribose sugar, in which 2 OH group is actually free, okay, and this is subjected to many reaction and even the mutation. So RNA, since the virus have RNA, they have high mutation rate also, okay, and this can easily subjected to various reaction. Even some of the RNA are catalytic in action, so the stability of RNA is poor as compared to, and moreover they don't have the double helical structure also. So RNA and DNA both are able to express the Mendelian character, that is fine. Okay, so that's why DNA is mostly you will see DNA is a genetic material in most of the organism except for the viruses. So here we complete DNA is the hereditary material. Thank you.